Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so excited to bring this process video to you. It's a layout I did about my boys having some butterbeer at Fraser Pop 2.0 last weekend. The Store of Requirement came up and did a pop-up shop in the historical admin building of the school that puts this event on each year, and it's an amazing event. If you ever get a chance to come up to the Fraser Coast in July, make sure you check it out. Anyway, onto this layout. I'm using the Scrapping Fun Kit's July Harry Potter inspired kit and a couple of free printables that I found that I printed just to because they suited this layout a bit better. And I did leave, you'll see that whole first bit that you just watched is totally different to how my layout turned out, because I wanted people to see how I change my mind so much. So head back to the beginning. Once you've watched the video, head back and watch it, thinking about, you know, even those of us on design teams change our mind over and over again while we're creating. You know, not all the time, but sometimes we all stumble and change our minds. So I thought I was going to do it this way, and then I thought I was going to do that way, and then that piece of parchment paper inspired me. I decided I needed to grab the parchment edge washi from the kit, edge a piece of cardstock with it, so I went for a 6x12. I kept my photo order that I'd decided on in the 12x12, but that was the only thing I really kept. And the fact that I was using that butterbeer mug from the Cut Apart and that butterbeer label that I'd printed, the freebie, and there was a Hogwarts crest that I'd printed that I was going to use. And then you can see what I've done here. Once I've put that washi down, I've used some Distress ink in Walnut Stain and the Packaging Technique and the Splatty Technique to create a parchment feel. That washi just made it. It gave it an edge. It gave it a finishing point. It made it feel right. Does that make sense? So right now I'm working out my placement, and I actually love how I do this. And then when I take everything off, I change it. I forgot. I didn't take a photo as I was going and forgot. But it still winds up great. So I've decided to mat all my photos with black cardstock to make them pop, and my journaling. And I now use my Helmer acid-free glue for this. The amount of times, if you watch my old videos, you will have seen me peeling stuff up and repositioning because I can never stick things down straight. Never. The glue gives me wiggle room, which tape doesn't. And I love that glue. It is archival. It is brilliant. Oh, okay. I've just trimmed out my journaling, and I'm, again, using the watered down Walnut Stain to colour it, and then I'm going to rub the edge of each piece on the ink pad to give it a nice defined edge. And that's how I got the colour of the journaling, and I just stick that on some black cardstock and trim. And again, I use my glue so I've got wiggle room if I stick it down crooked, because I always stick things down crooked. And the most I've really decided is that my photos, my journaling and my embellishments are going to cover as much of the white space as I can. I want my layout to look like it's on parchment, but I couldn't get, you know, I didn't want the pattern over the whole thing from the ink, but I still wanted to cover that white as much as I could, if that makes sense. As you can see, I've just edged my butterbeer label and my mug with that walnut ink. I had to do it with my mug because I was having a bad hand day, and the way I fussy cut it, I've lost the outside line, so it just sort of helped it a bit. Anyway, it was really hard to explain all that in the time that I had, but if I hadn't have sped the video up as much as I have, it was going to be a 40-minute video, so I had to do it. I've cut a few bits out and I've sped it up to make it better, quicker for you. Anyway, let's move on. So I'm sticking my photos down with the acid-free glue from Helmar, and then I'm going to use the Helmar liquid scrap dots and some scrap cardstock to stick down the Butterbeer label and the Hogwarts crest, and I'm just going to use the scrap dots for the mug of Butterbeer and my journaling. I love these things. I've never been a fan of using foam in my layouts because 90% of the time when I am creating, I need what I'm doing to be archival. And I know the scrap dots are archival. I know my cardstock is archival. I've tried some brands of foam before, and now I just prefer the scrap dots because I know they're acid free, and I don't know always that the foam is. Yeah, so I've just, you can see I didn't want the black to show underneath, so I put the black in the middle, and then I've put the scrap dots on the outside, and it gave the label this lovely sort of curve so that it felt like it was on a bottle. I love the way it turned out. So just adding my journaling with the scrap dots, love them. Then I'm going to make a mistake. I'm going to decide to try and use the tassel paper clip. And you won't see it, I've cut the footage out. I try and put it in a way that damages my scrap dots behind my label. So mad at myself. Anyway, then I just cut some threads off and stick them behind it with the Helmar craft glue. Trim them off, and I'm done. It's finished. I love it. Thank you for watching.